just quickly turn off my screen and switch to my terminal to show you a bit about the demo that Jani mentioned before. So basically, just to explain it really quickly, what the use case is. So you have a RAG system, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. So basically, you have a database with a bunch of documents. For example, in this example, we use some financial documents. And the use case is that you want to query those through a LLM, so with natural language. So you can just ask your AI bot, how much money did we make last year, and it would respond with the number. And because this information can be sensitive, right? You don't want everyone to have access to it, even within your organization, maybe. So if you pair this RAG system with Ory Keto, you can basically create a system where some employees have access to a part of the documents, some employees have maybe access to all the documents, and some only have access to a single document. Thanks. So I hope you can read this, and let me just start with the setup. So this make command is basically running this script here to set up everything. And so what it does is basically set up a bunch of permissions here in Ory Keto. So everything here is running locally, by the way. I forgot to mention that. So I do have Ollama running with a AI model from Mistral, as well as Ory Keto. So both are running on my machine at the moment. So first we set up some permissions, and if you haven't used Keto before, I'll just quickly explain it. You always have a object, a relation, and a subject. And in our case, the object is basically the document ID. The relation is the permission, so basically what the user is allowed to do with the document. And in this case, it's very simple. They can just view it. And the subject is the person. In this case, we just use the first name. In real life, you would maybe also use an ID for that. So first, we just test these permissions via the Keto CLI, just to make sure that they have been set up correctly. And you can see that in these samples here, so they have been set up as we specified before. And then we load the documents into our RAG system. And so these are the different documents that we wanted to add. So the tax returns for John Doe and ABC Corporation. And yeah, here are some example commands that you can use. By the way, you can find all of this code on GitHub, and you can also test this then to your heart's content. But let me start the demo, and quick prayer to the demo gods that everything will work. But basically what we do now is run a bunch of curl commands, and I'll also show you a special curl command a bit later. So just running through the whole demo here, and let me go through this one by one. So these are the documents that I talked about earlier. In our case, it's just a simple JSON document, basically, but it can also be something more complex, of course, in a real-life system. And those are the tax returns for the different years and for different people. And the permissions that we set up earlier are set in a way that Alice can only access the John Doe documents. So these two, basically, the first and the third. Bob can access only the ABC Corporation documents, so this is this here. And Peter is an admin who has access to all the different documents. So, and the first query that we run here is for Alice. So the question was, what is the total refund 2023 for John Doe? And this is the response from the LLM, from the Mistral model. And we can see that it correctly queried here the John Doe document. Similar, we do the same thing for Bob, and queries the text returns for ABC comparison. And lastly, we try out the admin, and he also can query it because he has access to all the documents. So now we try a unauthorized user, and this is here in the bearer token, not one of our employees, it's a hacker. So naturally the access is denied. And this is a response from Ory Keto then. So Ory Keto says access denied, and then the LLM, still goes through the LLM and formats it a bit, but basically this is what comes out. And then let's see what happens if one of our employees tries to access the ABC corporation, where if you remember, only Bob has access to those, and similar, we get access denied as well. So the key takeaways, as you can see, each user only sees the document they are authorized to access. The LLM itself also doesn't see the documents it's not authorized to see. So if you have, for example, a third-party LLM in between, it can only see those documents. And also prompt injection can also not leak any documents. You can't format this query here in like a clever way to trick the LLM. That's also not possible. It can only access the documents that this user should be allowed to see. And just to show you one more, so we see up here, we also have Michael Johnson. So I'll just try out a curl command just to show you that this is running live basically for Michael Johnson. So this is the command here, and here on localhost, this is where Keto runs. So and that's basically the text returns for this particular person.